Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It is the first webinar that Press Loft is doing. So we're really excited about having you today and chatting to you about Christmas PR. We wanted to start with a Christmas PR webinar just because we get so many questions from brands in our network every year on how to maximize Christmas coverage. So today, hopefully after the webinar, you will get lots of information on how to do your own PR and maximize the coverage for Christmas. So just before we start, we're just going to introduce ourselves. So I'm Celine. I've been working at Press Loft for over 7 years now. I started with launching Press Loft in France, and then I looked after Germany and the UK. I was part of the international launch, which was really excited because we allowed brands from France, the UK, Germany to access international audiences. And then now I'm looking after marketing. So over the years, we have learned loads on tips and tricks, and we will be sharing that today. So there is also Nikki and Fiona with us today. So Nikki is gonna go next.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Nikki Snell. I'm the founder of Press Loft. So originally I actually started a PR agency called 0 to 1, which Fiona works on many moons ago when I was 23. And then off the back of that, I needed a platform to manage all my clients' images and press releases and journalist lists. And then the concept of Press Loft was launched, and very quickly I realized that actually other agencies and other brands would want to use it. And then, gosh, how many years, 14 years later, we're here now and looking after lots of lovely brands' images. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about images particularly, so Christmas styling, and taking you through some examples of how I think styling's done really well. And then I'm also going to talk about Christmas press releases as well. So I've got a couple of press releases I'll take you through with some ideas of what they've done well, and also things that I think that they could tweak to maybe get some more press coverage as well. So hopefully that will be useful.
Yeah, hi, I'm Fiona and I am the account manager at 0 to 1 PR, and I work across several interior accounts, and I also do the trend research and social media for Press Loft. So today I'll be talking about lead times with journalists, and then I'll be going on to talk about some new Christmas 2020 trends, which should be really exciting.
Great. So hopefully today you will get to learn a lot about Christmas PR and pick up some really good tips. We have Chris and Dana, which if you're a client at Press Loft, you know them. There will be chats on the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat and say hi. You can also use the Q&A if you want, and they will be answering all of your questions today. What else?
At the end. So if you stick around to the end, then we've got all the PDFs. So we've got, what have we got? We've got lead times and trends, a couple of other things that we've got. There's one other thing that we've got, which is really good. Anyway, we'll remember as we go. And if you stick around, we'll give you a link and you can download all the PDFs at the end.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're also not a Press Loft member, you will have a link to register for a free trial if you wanted to. So we have gathered a few questions that we thought were really relevant for everyone here today. So the first one is about lead times, and Fiona will be answering that first question about lead times and speaking about lead times.
Okay, yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen with you all here. There we go. Yeah, so lead times, I usually start working on leads around about this time and start preparing press releases and your images around this time. Really, the earlier you can do this, the better. So if you think it's too early, it's probably not. So yeah, we would start with the long leads, and they work on Christmas around June to August time. So this includes print magazines, quarterly, bi-monthly and monthly glossy magazines, and they normally work between 2 to 6 months in advance. So that's examples like Living Etc., Red and Elle Decoration. If you're sitting worrying, oh, I don't really have my images ready just now, or we don't have our photo shoots maybe for another month or so, don't worry, because you can still work on the short leads with the journalist. So they usually work on Christmas, September to December time. So short lead outlets are daily and weekly newspapers and magazines, and they're also news websites and blogs that really don't need to prepare as much as the long leads do. So that's examples like the Times for the newspapers, Decorate for a blog, and Grazia for the weekly magazines. We start with May to June time. So this would be image preparation and writing your press releases. And this would just be preparing everything so you can pitch to journalists as soon as the leads start coming out. And that would be around July time. So this would be when you would send your press releases to long lead magazines and start calls to longer lead titles, just to find out what they're working on. Then we would go to August to September time, and this would be continuing searching for Christmas leads and sending out any Christmas focused press releases, and just following up with any journalists that might have not responded yet. We would then go on to October time. So this would be when you start sending your press releases and making calls to shorter leads and supplements. Then we would have November, which is blogger and influencer press release and calls. And then we would go to December, which would be the last minute gift guide. So any press releases on later delivery dates and voucher options. So generally a lot of newspapers tend to love these last minute gift guides. We have received a few leads from the likes of Evening Standard asking if you have any last minute delivery services. So they're really good ones to pitch in last minute if you do have any of those last minute leads. So yeah, that's generally the kind of lead times, and just make sure that you keep on top of them, and you're just looking at the calendar. Obviously this will be included, as Nikki said, in the link after our presentation, so you will have that to use over the next couple of months.
Yeah, one thing we've picked up on is that the leads are coming in really weirdly early this year. So we got our first lead, I think it was from Homestyle, around May for Christmas, which is I mean, completely unheard of. Like June, July would be early. July more typical, but June early. So May was really early, and we had a few starting. We don't know why. We haven't got any big reason for it. We don't really know why. But it is important that if you do have Christmas images now, or whenever you do, just get them up onto the site, because the Christmas leads are coming through thick and fast already.
Yeah, it is really nice also to know that it's never too late. You can always get your images up. You can always do your Christmas PR from now until almost October, November, and the really short leads are preparing their Christmas PR.
Yeah. And actually that reminds me, there is another side of it. So we're all really busy people, you know, we don't all have time to do short lead pictures and long lead pictures and split that up. So if you do want to just do one press release on your Christmas ranges to all journalists, then you can either pick a preference of wanting to get in the monthly titles, or pick a preference of wanting to get in the short lead titles. And that would then just adjust your date accordingly. So you might want to do September, so to be a bit early for the weeklies, and then a bit late for some of the monthlies, but then you're going to pick up a hybrid. So, you know, there's not an exact science, but that's the sort of attitude that you can take, and plenty of people do it, and they get really great levels of press coverage.
Great. So the next question will be for Nikki on Christmas images and Christmas shoots. We do get lots of questions on how do I get my what is the best image for gift guides, and what is the best imagery. So can you just talk to us a little bit more about tips and tricks on images?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing to remember is that you need cutouts first and foremost. So their images on a white background. So what I'm going to do is just start by showing you what a gift guide actually looks like, just in case any of you in the audience don't know. So this is something that we've mocked up. It's on a Google Doc, so it's not an actual gift guide, but they all look very, very similar to this. So it's a specific segment of recipient or whatever that Celine will go into in a little bit of detail. So this is gifts for mum, and there are a couple of beautiful products here, and you can see all of them are cut out. So they're not in a background or a styling sheet, they're all on a white background. And this is about 70% of the coverage that will come out, and gift guides are on a white background. So just to reassure everyone, you don't need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands on amazing shoots to actually get really good gift guide coverage. And plenty of people take well lit photos with their smartphones and then get them cut out afterwards. So if you Google something called Clipping Path, it's a service that different companies offer, and they can cut your images out for you when you've shot them yourself, whether it's with a DSLR or a smartphone. And if you've got a photographer, then they can do that as part of the service too. Fiona, you use a service, don't you? Which one was that?
Yeah, we do. We use Image Heroes for a few of our clients, and they work usually a 24-hour basis. So you would get your cutout images quite fast, and they just charge per image. So yeah, it's quite a useful application to use.
Yeah. And then, so what I'll do is I'm just going to show you some examples of images, and I think the people behind Betsy Ben may be in the audience. So I've picked one of your gorgeous images because they are stunning, and I think you can see some of the accessories that you can put to make a product more festive and therefore will appear more lightly in those Christmas features. So if you are going to invest in doing a lifestyle feature, this is the type of styling that you could use. What I love about this Betsy Ben one is that she's kept some of her sort of modern branding in there by using that striped background. So I think that's a really clever idea, and you can do that with paper or wallpaper, that sort of thing. They've got really lovely presents that are gift wrapped, again in quite a modern print, but you can see here that the gift wrapping that they've done is absolutely meticulous. There are no creases, the bow's perfectly straight, and that's really important, that if those images are going to get used in the press, that they are absolutely on point. They've got some foliage there on the left. You could swap that with maybe some holly or some what's it called? I always get it wrong. The Christmas pine branch as well, but that looks great, and that will do really well in the press. Another example from one of the top drawer exhibitors, Stormy Night, they've done a card, and actually stationery is notoriously difficult to shoot because it's so flat and you don't get a sense of dimensions, but I think they've nailed this flat lay. So it's an overhead shot. So they've got a pen in there, so you get the impression that it is a card, and you get a sense of the size of it. They've got baubles in there, which are always a great one for Christmas styling. They've got a stunningly wrapped product. It's all shot on a wooden floorboard probably, and they've got some nice little red ribbon there as well. So all in all, I think that's a stunning shot. Another example. So I'm just going to show you two different images from Melody Maison. So these are important to show you how impactful the styling is on it. So this is a Christmas type of lantern, and you've got a decoration, some lovely little fairy lights in there, and a couple of stars. Now there's a very similar product here, so another lantern from them, which albeit is, you know, more summery, but they've got summery flowers in there, and even that will go through all seasons. So within the same shoot, you can choose your accessories, so you're saving your time, and then pop in some summer flowers in with the same product and swap it out so that you've got a Christmas shoot and an all season shoot at the same time. Oh, I just wanted to show, I love Lights for Fun, like their styling and photography is beyond amazing. But just if you can see here how subtle that background foliage is, and that's clearly a summer product. So it can be very subtle the way you use foliage in shots, but it can be really effective. Obviously this isn't Christmas, this is a summer shot, but I just wanted to show you how important that sort of styling is and how subtle it can be, and very, very achievable at home. Now, this is an example of a stunning product, which I think is quite difficult to understand, you know, whether it's a Christmas product or not. And with the dark on the right and the quite light on the left, this probably wouldn't have been picked up by the press, despite being a stunningly gorgeous product. And they did actually shoot it in cutout, and you can see the strong difference here. So you can see the golds and the greens, the red, that will go really far in the press. So just to show you how impactful those cutouts can actually be. And then if you're going to do more of a wider lifestyle shot, so here's Garden Trading's some Nordic kitchenware, their stylist is probably hanging that branch over the top with some baubles hanging down. So you can have the same shot and the same shoot and take that branch out and then pop it back in, and you've got one very all seasons styling, and then one you've got that's specifically festive, so they'll get in those Christmas articles there. And then another one. So it's really tricky for furniture brands to get high levels of coverage over the December issues and all around Christmas time, simply because the articles are filled with gift guides. But if you can style some furniture up with festive baubles, ornaments, throws, and this is obviously a big one by Circu with a Christmas tree, that you'll do much, much better and be able to get in some of those more festive pieces. And oh gosh, Desania do stunning styling. Again, this will be professionally shot, but I just wanted to give you some inspiration here. So if you look, there's some nice star decorations. If you imagine that they're not in the shot, again, you've got a completely non-festive image which can go all through the year. But with those in and with the lovely colours that they've got, it makes it nice and festive. And then I think I've got one more from them. So yeah, along the left hand side you've got Christmas tree and a gift, and you can just tug that out the shot, and then you've got quite a non-festive image there.
Yeah, I think
so hopefully you can see how those cutouts are most important. Then if you've got the time, then you can develop your lifestyle shots to whatever degree you've got the time and money to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nicola, as you said, a lot of furniture brands do struggle to get the Christmas lifestyle images. So I would also suggest, if you do have any furniture, say sofas, you can send away for recoloring, say Christmas colors like red, or just any trends that are coming up that you spot in the press. Then you can also get your images recolored. Just make sure they are professionally done and they are still for sale, obviously, online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, we do get lots of questions over and over about lifestyle and cutout images, but as you mentioned, it's always better to have cutout images to get your products into gift guides for Christmas, for sure. I think also we didn't mention the fact that online magazines use lifestyle a little bit more than maybe paper magazine will do. So depending on what you want to target, have cutout for paper mags and then lifestyle for online publications. So actually, speaking about gift guides now, I'm gonna chat about gift guides and how important it is for you to create some sort of your own gift guides to pitch your products to the press. So every year we see hundreds and hundreds of gift guides coming out in the press, online, offline. So it's very, very important for you to just try to get some sort of your own gift guides to share and to send a press release to journalists. So I'm going to share up, just one second. I'm going to share my screen just because we got some ideas together for you. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So again, so when you're sending out a press release for your Christmas products, or if you want to get your products into gift guides, try to find segments for your products to actually make journalists' life easier by having a sort of like your own gift guides, really. So here
just to butt in on that one. In terms of gift guide, you don't have to have all products. It can even just be one product that's in this segment. So if you do have a stunning mug or something that you want to promote, then if you pick one of these sectors and pop that in the heading, that's good enough. But obviously, if you've got more products, you've got more chance of something being picked.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so those are just ideas for you to just try to brainstorm what products will go in what categories. So here we have recipients, so it's age, gender, relationship, and others. We have, so if you have any products in for her or for him, or non-gender specific, or for in-laws, or anything that will be in those categories, make sure you send a press release out to journalists with those products, just because they're doing so well during Christmas time. Most of the time, journalists will go back to their emails too to just double check what they have received. So if you're sending a press release with in-laws, gift guides, the journalists will be able to just search into the inbox and then go back to the content that you send. And also, one of the things is that the content you're creating for your press release can be used later on during the year for customer-facing marketing. So make sure that you're saving those created selections that you have done for your gift guide, and then have that for your blog, your social media, and newsletter if you're sending any.
Yeah.
Just one to pick out here is the key worker one. That will be very hot this year in terms of gift guide roundup. So you might need to be creative, but I think lots of things work really well for key workers. And the other one is pets. So Hannah helped us. She does a lot of the media monitoring for Press Loft, so she went back over loads and loads of old gift guides, and time again pets comes up, and there's not that many people promoting pet products, or there's just not as many pet products. So do pop, you know, top 10 gifts for pets as a press release title as an example would be a fantastic one if you've got anything relevant for that.
People spend so much money on their pets.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'm one of them. Yeah, it's funny because they're part of people's family. So if you have any products, make sure you think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
So the next one will be by interest. So if you have any products that are fitting into hobbies, sport, or working from home, causing up offices, if you have some sort of like plants, maybe anything that has gardeners or something that is very specific, remember to send a press release out because those really work. We know that this year the big topics will be inside what's the name of the trend again that we did, that we
outside in,
bring the outdoors in. Yeah,
this has been really successful. We saw lots of interest on Press Loft for those kind of categories, but also working from home. So if you have any sort of accessories for the home, make sure you send a press release out, because again, this will be a big gifting subject this year.
Another one in there is hiking. We mentioned that before. So hiking is just, we can all do our daily walks now, and that's just carrying on. So I think anything to help people continue their daily walks over Christmas, gift guides will probably be popular. Pampering at home, there's a lot currently around pampering at home. What else is quite big? Obviously home workers is a new one, and anything crafty. We're going really back to basics, aren't we? And really going back to very natural things, which you're going to talk about in a minute, Fiona, as well. So lots of really new ones coming up there.
One of the things that we also saw was virtual gifts. So this is a bit of a funny one because it's very new. In terms of, virtual gift is a funny thing, because normally you give presents to people, but we've seen lots of shops offering vouchers. So if it's something you're doing in your shop, just make sure you're also maybe sending a press release out for not for the vouchers, but something around virtual gifting will be a good one. And also it's tricky for our clients because they might not have those products, but if you have anything to do with yoga, doing sport in your home, or something that is linking to this sort of at-home sports, remember to send a press release out again, because I think for this Christmas is going to be focused on what people will be doing in their home.
It's also worth mentioning, definitely with the keywords in this, to include these in press releases when you send them out to journalists. If they are not working on that just now, they do tend to save a lot of press releases into folders, and then maybe in a few months they could think, oh, I'm now working on gifts for cooks, for example, and they would then type that into their emails, and they'd be able to find your press release really easy and use your products for that.
Yeah, great. And then I think Nikki is going to go over press release in a few moments, so she will also give you a few tips on how to have a catchy title. So the next one will be about product features. So if you have anything that is eco-friendly, British made, zero waste, anything that has to do with your products and the product's features will be a good one to focus on for your gift guides.
This is beyond massive now. It's just almost an expectation for lots of journalists as well. So you need to really push that. If there's any vegan or charity fair trade, zero waste is coming up a lot. It's been around for ages, but it's not going away, and it's in fact like I said, becoming more and more important to journalists that there is an element in it.
Absolutely. We saw, so many downloads on Press Loft, so many articles, and it can be on packaging, it can be on using less material to send your package out, it can be anything that is to do with what you do in your company.
Yeah. With this one, it would be quite a good idea to maybe have some sort of expert comment or a quote. So say you're doing something to do with charity and there's a bit of a backstory behind it. It's really nice to include an expert comment, as journalists love featuring them in the press. It's just your own thing and it just gives it more of a personal touch as well.
Absolutely, yeah. The gadget, tech, and advent calendars have been very, very popular too. And every year we see roundups of gift guides being published. So those are just examples. And again, like you can take screenshots if you want now, but this will be shared at the end. So we'll be sharing a landing page with you where you can just access all of this content. So the last one and very, very big one will be the price point. So we see years and years again gift guides with kind of a price point. So if you have anything that is under a certain price, you can make really nice selections with products under 50, under 20, and this will really help journalists have these price points and really quickly see that those products will be suitable for them.
Yeah, and I think
go ahead, Nikki.
In terms, I keep doing that. So in terms of the stocking fillers one and under £10, this is one that's quite tricky for journalists to find products for that are really lovely and good quality, because obviously the price being so low. So if you do have something that is £10 or under, do put the price point in the title of the press release and say the word stocking fillers as well, because they're very tricky for journalists to do. I've got some examples in a minute which I'll talk through and show you how it can be integrated into a press release.
So just a few comments on pricing. If you're on Press Loft, just remember to have your prices in your products, just because you will be missing out on coverage. Like journalists sometimes don't have time to actually do research. So if they see different products, they might not pick yours just because you don't have the price in that. On Press Loft, or if you're not on Press Loft, then just make sure you have the prices in all of the products and content that you're sending out to journalists.
Another thing worth mentioning is most of the journalists that we work with over Christmas time that work on Christmas gift guides with the cutouts usually do have a price point. So they're always looking for that. So just make sure that the price is really prominent and you've got the correct prices in there so you can pitch to journalists, and they just find it really easy, because if you have your price and someone else doesn't, they're more likely to feature yours. So yeah, that one's really important, price points.
Great. So hopefully that will be giving you a few ideas on how to use your own products and do your own gift guides. Again, years and years, every year we see so many gift guides. So just try to find different segments for your products, and we guarantee that you will be picked up at some point by the press. So we were speaking about press release, and I'm sure everyone is really excited about what you're going to share, Nikki. And again, like if anyone, this is our first webinar, so if you have any suggestions and feedback on today's webinar, just pop on the chat ideas and content that you would like us to produce. But Nikki is going to speak about press release now.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen and jump over here. So I've just picked out two great press releases, and I thought what I'd do is take you through them bit by bit and point out some bits that went well and maybe how I would tweak things to maximize press coverage. All press releases are visible on the front of Press Loft. I think Dana and Chris might be sharing a link to where you can see press releases for inspiration. And this is one that came out last year in October, so fairly late. They would have missed most of the monthly titles, but perhaps they sent it out earlier as well. So this one is called Christmas Gifts for Under £55 from Soak and Sleep. So lovely. It's very clearly Christmas. It's they've got the price point in there and they have the brand name in there. Now you don't need to have your brand name in the title, but some people choose to, and it's absolutely fine. It probably won't always get you more coverage, so you may want to use those words to describe something else, maybe pampering, but I'll go on to that. So it just starts off really quickly. There's not loads and loads of words there, which is fantastic. So give your friends and family the gift of sleep this year with a range of presents from Soak and Sleep for under £55. Brilliantly simple, so good. I think some people feel that they need to be amazing wordsmiths and craft the whole articles, and that's absolutely not the case with a press release. You need to give the journalists the information and give them the inspiration to feature you in their articles. You don't need to write those articles yourself. So I think that should reassure a lot of people that you don't need to be, amazing writers. So then they start off with these lovely cashmere socks. You can see that most of their images are cutouts, which is great. The price point is £28 a pair. So this is quite a luxury pampering style product, and you can see the rest of them are. So I would perhaps suggest something like pampering Christmas gifts for her, if they're for her. And then I'll give some ideas of other tweaks for it later. So then they've got a waffle terry robe. It's a plain white one. If they have a more brightly coloured one, it might be better to include that, just because often plain white products wouldn't necessarily get as a standout product in a gift guide. And then they have these lovely silk eye masks, which are only £10 each. So again, what we mentioned before about stocking fillers being a tricky one to fill, if they'd put in the title, pampering gifts for her from £10 to £55, again, journalists will go, oh my gosh, there's one of those really affordable products in there that could fit into my stocking filler style articles. They also include bed linen. Now, it's gorgeous bed linen, but generally in gift guides, bed linen doesn't tend to fit. It will go in more the homeware articles. So I probably would have swapped that in for something slightly more gifty in this respect. And then they end with the gorgeous throws, which is stunningly shot and very, the photography is really lovely in there. So they may even get a couple of those featuring in a gift guide. So all in all, just tiny tweaks there. They've prices all the way through, product names. So yeah, great press release. And then another one of Cabbages and Kings. Now they're a lovely online store and also have a bricks and mortar store, and they've got loads and loads of products, so they do have a lot to choose from. In this press release, they've got about 25 products, so a lovely big range, which is perfectly fine. They could have separated this press release out into different segments, which I'll show you as well, but either way you probably would have got a similar amount of press coverage. So with this one, they've called it Christmas Gift Guide for Men 2019. Again, does what it says on the tin. It doesn't need to be fancy. It works really well. They've got the fact that it's for men, and they've also got the year, which kind of implies that perhaps they're new products this year, which if you've got new products, first and foremost, get them out there. They're really important. And so then they've segmented their press release out into, first of all, around the house, so different styled products, planters and oven gloves, tea towels, candles, so a nice variety there, all cut out, beautifully cut out, super clear in terms of what product they are and how much they are. And they've got a big, nice variety of prices here. So another sector is the great outdoors, which I love that title. I think that would inspire some journalists to do whole gift guides on that. Lovely price points, lovely ranges of products that are very eco-friendly as well. And again, they've got architecture lover, which I think is great, and not many people will be doing it. So they could have picked this one out as an entire press release in its own right and possibly done really well from that as well. And then they end up with another good one. So they are good at creating these concepts. So the Eternal Student. And in the bottom here, they've got one which is 3 pens for £6. I mean, that is a dream of a stocking filler. So again, very similar to what I've suggested for Soak and Sleep's press release. I'm just going to scroll up quickly. Sorry if it makes you go all sick. But so if they called it Christmas Gift Guide for Men 2019, 6 to whatever it was, £140, again, they may have just scooped up a little bit more press coverage for it. But again, all in all, fantastic press release. So yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's worth mentioning with press releases, if you do want to get creative, then don't be afraid to, because journalists do love, I mean, you could inspire them to pick up something that they've maybe not thought of, and they could be like, oh wow, that's great, like we'll feature that, and they haven't even thought of it in the first place. But as Nikki said, if you aren't really a writer, or you just want to get your press releases sent out and you don't have a lot of time, they do also pick up the general just gift guide press releases as well. So a little bit of a mix, it goes a long way.
Also, we do get a lot of questions from clients about new products versus old products, especially this year between the lead times coming in really early and then, you know, people being maybe a bit late with their Christmas shooting with everything that's happening at the minute. So if you, maybe you and Fiona can give a few tips on how to, you actually don't need to have new products. If you don't have new products, you can use your old, your current ranges to do your gift guides, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you totally repurposing your old products is so important. And I mean, that's one of the reasons for giving all these segments and ideas out. So absolutely, old products are fine. You will, though, get more coverage when it's a new product. 100%. If something's brand new, cutting edge, and fits into all those segments, then you've nailed it. And just to mention, if you have got a new product or multiple new products, put new or just launched or new for 2020, Christmas 2020 in the title again, because that will get your press release opened much more.
Nice, brilliant. Hopefully this will help lots of people with their press release now. So we are going to move on to the next part of the webinar now, and the last one. So we are going to be speaking about trends, and Fiona is going to show you her research in terms of trends 2020 for Christmas.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen with you again. Okay. Can you see that okay?
Yep, perfect.
Okay, so I've been doing Christmas trend research over the past couple of weeks. I usually would use inspiration. I would start on Pinterest. They have lovely mood boards, and if you just type in any keywords, they would come up with some brand new trends that are coming up for this year. I would also use inspiration from the fashion world. So fashion sometimes works 1 or can work 2 years in advance. So it's also really important to take some inspiration from fashion, say London Fashion Week, if they had any nice textures or designs that you think you could incorporate into any Christmas trends or just anything in general, then fashion is really inspirational for that. I also use trend forecasting sources. So WGSN, I use their blog and their social media platforms. Their subscription is a bit more pricey, but I do find that their blog and social media platforms are really inspirational anyway. So you can get a lot of information from them. We also focus on Pantone Colour of the Year and Dulux Colour of the Year, which I'm sure you're all very aware of. I mean, Pantone this year has been absolutely crazy. I mean, I don't know how many downloads have we received?
Oh my goodness. So we had, last year it was Living Coral, and it got 2,500 downloads from the trend page. I think Dana and Chris are going to share where you can see the trends that we do. So we compile images to give journalists inspiration. So on one page it was 2,500 downloads, but then the classic blue last year, December, was 7,500 downloads. I mean, it was phenomenal. It blew our mind, really, didn't it? So that would have led to about 2,000 to 3,000 pieces of coverage just from that one page. So it's really influential. It's something that you definitely need to get on board with, and they release it on their blog for, you know, freely. And also we put it on our newsletter and tell clients the moment it's out as well. So do sign up to our newsletter as well. And again, I think Dana and Chris will share the link as to where you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, with Pantone, obviously they will be releasing a new one in December. So focus on the classic blue for just now and make sure you're pitching all of your Christmas products with classic blue. But if you don't have any classic blue products or you're waiting for the new one, then it is out in December. So make sure you keep an eye on that, and just any imagery you have to do with the new color. It doesn't even have to be Christmas. Make sure you upload them to Press Loft. Make sure you've got your keywords tagged in with them, because I can guarantee on the day that it gets released, journalists will be on Press Loft downloading lots and lots of images. So as soon as you get your images uploaded, you're more likely to get more coverage for that as well. And it's the same with the Dulux, which will be out in September. So make sure you're keeping an eye on both of them. They're really important ones. Okay, so our first trend we have is personalized decor and gifts. And this is going to be a really popular one this year just because of everything that's going on just now. This just brings a personal touch and a unique present for some loved ones. So say you couldn't have the family together on Christmas Day, and we've got these lovely crackers here. I mean, you could put a family member's name on the cracker that might not be able to attend Christmas Day. So this just kind of it gives it it's like a wholesome kind of gift trend, I think, and it just brings the family together in these uncertain times and brings some joy over Christmas. The next one we have, and we touched upon earlier a little bit, was wellness and self-care gifts. This is also going to be so popular this year, and we've already seen lots of downloads for wellness and self-care gifts over the past few months just because of everything that's happening again. Again, it just kind of brings a little bit of a personal touch, and it sends a lovely gift to a loved one. So make sure if you have any wellness or self-care gifts that you're putting keywords in, or you're mentioning that in your press releases when you're pitching to journalists.
And pampering at home as well, and that as a phrase will be really popular, and is really popular right now.
So the next one is virtual Christmas, which we also touched upon a little bit earlier as well. So obviously during the pandemic just now, virtual Christmas might be happening in 2020. We just don't know. It's just so uncertain. So getting prepared for maybe a virtual Christmas would be perfect. And I can see a lot of gift guides and features happening with this one. So just anything from subscription services, online games, quizzes, just anything that you think that you can incorporate into a kind of online trend. So even if you didn't have anything virtual per se, you could, if you had a board game, how could you incorporate that online to kind of get across to journalists that yes, this can actually be used online. So this one is one that you will need to get creative with, because obviously we were unaware that this was going to happen, so you might have not been prepared for it. But again, you can get creative, and I'm sure there'll be something that you can find, vouchers, just anything really. There's so much you can go from here. It's such a broad trend, this one.
And also maybe mentioning the delivery now, because I think you know, if you have if there is a second wave, and you know, you need to communicate with journalists and your customers that your delivery, you know, are still going, and be very vocal about that. Especially, you know, if you have a shop, but if you're online, it's also I think very important to just have those delivery.
And local gift vouchers as well. So I think we'll get a lot of that. So people want to support local more than ever at the moment. So if you are a local store to a certain area, you could even contact your local press and talk about the vouchers that you're offering, and you know, perhaps that people are giving from further afield, from outside that area, giving those regional vouchers and local vouchers to people as well.
I think it's lovely what everyone's coming up with at the moment with creative ideas with gifts and everything. So the next one we have is a more decorative trend, and this is Wintry Wabi Sabi. So this is a Japanese art of finding beauty in imperfection. So this is it's like imperfect shapes, and it's also inspired from nature. So it can be quite sustainable and give a natural and quite authentic feel. So if you have any products that are sustainable or eco-friendly, this is going to be such a huge one this year as well. So make sure obviously you're including this in your press releases, your image captioning, and when you're pitching into journalists.
And if you do have something along those lines, that's all important title, and pop that in. So including that Wabi Sabi or Japanese in the keywords, or even in your press release title, will definitely catch a journalist's eye. So the next one is Natural Noel. So Wabi Sabi was quite a specific one in finding imperfect shapes. So if you didn't have anything for say imperfect, Natural Noel is quite a similar trend. So it still focuses on the simplicity and the sustainable and natural textures with soft tones. So this is a good one, and I think is quite ideal for most interior spaces. As you can see on the right hand side here, garden trading have a really nice lifestyle image. It's quite country styled with just some simplistic Natural Noel accessories. This is also an eco-friendly one. So just make sure you're including, you know, the natural side of it in your press releases and your keywords when you're pitching to journalists as well. And I think the important thing is that the same products can work across multiple trends. You're just going to bulk out the chances of getting coverage there. So there's a couple of products which are really similar or the same, and that's absolutely fine as well. Just doing multiple press releases across different trends with similar product ranges, that works well.
Yeah, this one's quite versatile, so I guess you can use it for a couple. The next one we have is Furoshiki, which is also a Japanese trend. So this is Japanese traditional wrapping cloth. This is eco-friendly and mostly used for a wrapping gift. And this one is going to be huge this year just because of everyone being more aware now than ever of the ethical and environmental impacts of goods and services. So this one's really exciting because it's quite versatile. I mean, you can use it for wrapping some gifts, or you could use it even at the dinner table on Christmas Day. So it can be a decorative one, but it could also be a gift trend as well, which is really important to point out.
I think we said that plenty of people may not sell these, but you may even want to consider upselling. So at the point of sale, maybe offering this instead of gift wrapping service, offering to add on one of these as an add-on. And if you do that, then just make sure that you have photography to promote some of your products and the fact that you do it, because it will go down really, really well.
Definitely. So the next one is a nod towards Pantone Colour of the Year Classic Blue, which we discussed earlier. So this one's called A Blizzard of Blues, and it's basically incorporating the intense classic blue colour into your home for Christmas 2020. So basically, if you don't have any classic blue colours, you can still incorporate this into your lifestyle images. So here we have furniture choice, they have a classic blue backdrop, and then they have some nice subtle Christmas accessories in front. So yeah, as I said, if you don't have any classic blue colours, you can still incorporate this colour into some photo shoots and into lifestyle imagery. Also make sure that you're just updating any of your images with keywords, just so that journalists can find them easy. And it's also worth mentioning again, make sure that yes, this one is really important, but when the new Pantone colour comes out in December, make sure you're on the ball with that and get any images uploaded with the keywords as well, because there might be some last minute Christmas features that journalists are working on with that one.
And there was definitely last year along that line. I think I just saw a question pop up very briefly. Someone said that they have black and white products, and obviously then it's very difficult to style in colour. And that's exactly what you said. So you can style with a prop at the background, the painted wall, obviously that's significant, but you can style it up and match colours. So you might not sell something classic blue, but you might have something in a coral colour which complements it nicely. So you can do that kind of styling with something as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like journalists self-feature the image, even if it's not the actual product that's talking about classic blue, they would still feature the lifestyle image, and then they would include your image captioning in it. So you were still guaranteed a feature if you change it up a bit, which is really important to point out. The next one we have is Magical Metals and Rust. So this is quite a glamorous / rustic trend combined. It also takes a nod to the reusable and recyclable trend as well. So I would pair this with crisp accessories and natural colours. Here we have some lovely gold reindeers at the front, and the backdrop is quite a crisp backdrop with some glamorous accessories. So yeah, this is quite a unique one that you can play about with, definitely with lifestyle images as well. And the last one we have is quite a joyful and upbeat one. It's called Pink Parade, which I think we all need some joy just now with everything that's going on. Depending if you like the color pink, I don't know, but I think this one's really nice. I mean, it definitely brings some Christmas. It will bring some Christmas spirit in a unique way this year. And you can make this trend really classy as well. I think, as you can see with the lifestyle images here, I mean, they're so lovely. We have the grey works on the left-hand side. Just the pink flowers, it's quite subtle. And I mean, you could use this for another season, say in summertime. So this is also such a versatile image. I think pink is such a versatile color as well, and you can incorporate it into many different things. This is also going to be really Instagrammable. It's going to be, such an Instagrammable trend, and I can see a lot of bloggers picking this one up and using it on their Instagram and their social media platforms. It's just such a vibrant one. So I think, this one's going to be, quite a refreshing one this year. Yeah, so that's basically the roundup of the Christmas trends that we found so far. Obviously, in the next couple of months, there will be more trends coming out. So make sure you keep an eye on the new trends that are coming out and do your research. But we will also be keeping you updated with brand new trends coming out. And we will keep you updated with the trends on Press Loft as well. So make sure you keep an eye out for those.
Great, yeah. I'm sure everybody knows that we are doing weekly trends on Press Loft, and we will be starting to do all of the Christmas trends. We have studied already, but we will do all of the gift guides in the coming weeks. So if you have any images, please upload them on Press Loft now, because you will get so much more downloads and coverage in the coming months. Even if it starts really slowly, you will get picked up if you have all of the right information and right products. One of the things that we briefly spoke about was also keywords. So if you're on Press Loft, just make sure you refresh all of your keywords. Or if you have new products, just make sure you have gift for her, gift for him, gift for gardeners, gift for anything that is very specific to your products, because journalists come to Press Loft and most of the times they just do keywords research. So that was our last questions. So what we will do now is just share all of the questions that we have received and try to answer them. And then Chris and Dano will also share the link to the landing page where you can download the content, and I can actually share that with you really quickly. Just one second. Just one second, sorry. Dana and Chris, can you please share the link to the landing page on the chat? Perfect, okay. So now we're just going to answer all of the questions that we've got. We have got a lot of questions on press release, which is not a surprise.
I can feel another webinar coming along.
Yeah, so again, if you're still here with us, if you have any, if you would like us to do any other webinars on specific subjects, please let us know, because we will be really happy to do one. So you answer the question about the black and white product. The next question we have is from Lisa. Do you have to use photos we take ourselves? I'm a reseller and I use photos from the manufacturer. So and this is a question that we get a lot actually from brands, because sometimes retailers have the same products from the other shop. So if you and Fiona have different, maybe just comments on that.
I'll go ahead. So it all depends on the contract that you have with the manufacturer. So you, first and foremost, it's a legal issue that do you have rights to reuse their photography for marketing purposes? The vast majority of the times you do. As a reseller, you should be asking for that, because that's the kind of point. One of the points is that they're providing you with the imagery. Some people very much choose not to use that standard manufacturer's photography because they want it done in their own styling and to look distinct. So it's a time and a branding decision there, but and it's not a blanket yes or no. You have to go back to that manufacturer and ask them.
Okay. Let's move on to press releases, because we do have a lot of questions. One of the questions that is from Lisa, but also a lot of clients are actually asking us about them, is do you actually send the same press release for monthlies and then send exactly the same press release later on? Or do you actually change the content a little bit to target monthly publications and then weeklies?
Yeah. Do you want to go with that one?
So Fiona?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Obviously, if you did have the time, I would suggest to do a couple just to match with publications. But if you don't have the time, then don't worry, you can reuse the same press release. Obviously, different publications are working on different things at different times. So yeah, it would be nice to have a variety. But you can reuse the same press release. It's not a problem if you don't have a lot of time.
And also on Press Loft, we don't segment our users into what we call long lead and short lead, which is what Fiona explained earlier. So the monthlies and the sort of weeklies and blogs. So the same press release would go out to the same list, but it's typically on a daily summary, so it's totally worth doing if you want to. If you've got your own media list, then I definitely recommend segmenting it into long and short lead, so you can pull off just the long lead and just the short lead. What you mustn't do is send the same press release, obviously, to the monthly journalist and the weekly journalist at the same, you know, don't double up so that they get it twice, because that would annoy them.
Yeah, when we work with our clients, we obviously use our list and segment them for different times. So yeah, if you do, as Nikki said, have different lists, then make sure you're doing that.
But that's the dream. I mean, and you definitely don't need to do that. I think it's important to understand that a lot of people don't have the time to do that, and that's also okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, if you've got maybe I don't know, 10 or 20 journalists in your list, and they're the dream ones and they're the only ones you want to contact, then I would even send them one by one. And I know that's a lot of time, but you're going to get the best response if you're sending a personal email to Gemma at the Times and then, you know, Sophie at Red, rather than doing a blanket release. But that's very much if you're doing extremely targeted, you have that bit more time and you know them personally, and it's very effective. But most people can't do that one-to-one kind of pitch.
A question from Amy again about press release and repurposing the content. So she gave an example of a student and working from home. Can you use the same products in different headlines? So let's say you're using exactly the same content, but just changing the headlines. Probably not. Yeah,
I personally wouldn't. I would try to at least swap a couple. I mean, maybe a couple would cross over, but I think you run the risk of them obviously seeing through it. So I probably wouldn't use that as a strategy. I'd pick one that you think is the strongest and then go with that. I personally. What would you say, Fiona? Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. From a PR perspective, obviously, if for say a client doesn't really have new images, we do reuse old ones, and then we would change the title and try and get a bit creative with the images. So if you don't have that many images, and you're looking to send another press release out, and you want to change the title, or you want to change the theme or the trend of it, if your products are quite versatile, then you can get creative, but I wouldn't do it at the same time. So it would need to be quite far apart, say months apart.
Or a completely different spin on it. You know, not just literally the same copy, just tweaked with that word. It might be quite a different story angle on working from home, and, you know, how you can curate your own working from home environment with these products. And the other one is, if you're a student working from home and you're really struggling, you need to pad out the story in a little bit more detail if you're going to do it. But the further apart you can have it year on year, it's completely fine. Like if you're doing it 1 year to the next, no worries. But if you're doing it 1 week to the next, it's probably a little bit risky.
It would definitely need to have a different story and a different outlook on the whole press release itself.
Great. So next question, we do have a few more questions, so hopefully you can hang around with us. Stacy and Hina have been asking the same questions about PDFs, attachment, Word document, and crediting in the email. So, and this is a question we get all the time. When you do your own PR and you send out a press release to journalists, do you actually have the content in the body of the email? Do you do an attachment? How do you do?
Always include it in the body of the email. Do not send an attachment. If you go on the likes of Twitter and search, you'll find that journalists love when you include it in the body of the email, just because when they search their emails, if they search for something that they're working on and your email pops up, all you want them to do is easily be able to copy and paste your work and paste it into their work. So definitely in the body of the email.
And some people actually take a slightly different technique. So they paste it in. I always agree, like 100% paste it in, so they can just scroll down and search and everything. Some people also attach a PDF of the press release to their email because some journalists like to file them. The reason that we generally don't do that as an agency, and Press Loft doesn't send press releases out like that anyway, but is because we do mail merges, and when you do mail merges, then it can get really heavy files, attachments, and that can cause problems with mail merges. But if you're doing one-to-one, you know, you could add a PDF and your images. And in terms of, I don't know if there's probably a question about should we attach the high-res images to the press release, and I would say no, because you're going to probably make that press release email very big. Link to them in a Dropbox or a Google Drive or on Press Loft, so they can always access them, or they'll just ask you. I think most journalists don't like to be sent lots of high-res images without being asking for them first. Just include the low-res, but do include images in your press release 100%, but they just need to be the low-res versions.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely if you can include the PDF and a copy in the email, I mean, that's perfect.
That would be,
having both for the journalist to access is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
So next question again on press release. If you have different, if you have several categories of products, do you actually send one press release with all of those different categories, or would you actually kind of split them up? So I think Nikki, you showed the press release earlier with different categories, where that client actually send a press release with different categories on them, but it depends, like the strategy you want to have.
I think you can do either. You can either do a generic, this is my Christmas gift guide for 2020, and if you've not got many products, then that's great. If you've got like Cabbages and Kings, they have loads and loads of products. So I think within each sector they had at least 5 items. So that's quite a low number per sector. So you could split that out and do a whole press release with maybe 10 or 15 products in one category to get more granular. Neither are incorrect strategies. It depends on time and the product variety you have as well.
Okay, next question that is very broad, but maybe we can just try to answer that. How many press releases can you send to each journalist? So in terms, like, I think we can maybe approach the question a bit differently in terms of how many press releases can you send maybe for a month? I mean,
I think, I think, so as an agency, Fiona, you're going to be sending multiple press releases out, sometimes per client, per month, to the same journalist, but they know you as a PR, and they know that you're going to be sending anywhere from 5 to 20 press releases a month to that one journalist, and that's absolutely fine, because they know your content is good and they know that it's going to be relevant for them, and it's about that sort of trust factor. So if you're sending 4 press releases a month to one journalist on a very, very different product ranges and very different stories, and you know it's on the money because you know that Red Magazine would like it, that could go down really well. But if you're just sending out press releases for press releases' sake because you just want to try and hit as many journalists as possible, then that's not going to work. It's all about relevance, and the more that you know the journalists and the more you know what they're looking for, the more you're going to get it right. But less can be more, unless you're really doing something that's if the trends landed today and you did a press release 2 days ago, then definitely do send the press release out with the trend that's relevant. But you have to be a bit cautious about overdoing it.
I will agree with that. And I think it's answering another question from Claire about how many press releases are you sending out, weekly, monthly. So this will be answering these questions too. So Sandra asked a few questions actually about how to keep up with the correct journalist emails. So I think we did another webinar just a couple of weeks ago on how to find journalist contacts, and it's a long process, but I
think that's quite a chunky one. We've got Twitter's a great, just in a very, very brief summary, Twitter's a great resource. Beyond that, it's use Readly. So Readly is a really good, so the masthead is the bit in the magazine which features all the journalists who write for that magazine. So you can use the mastheads, and then you'll generally get an editorial assistant's email, but sometimes you can sort of work out what the email address is once you know the first and surname. And if you already know the journalist that's working in a magazine and you know they've gone, then you will be able to work out who's the replacement and what the email format is that way. So readly.com, and they have a free trial, and that's an aggregator of lots of different publications in one place, and we use that for journalist research. That's a great one.
We've done a few blogs on influencers to follow and journalists to look out for on social media. So if you look at those blogs, you can also yeah, you can see their social medias and see they might be posting on there what they're working on.
And the other thing is that we all experience is that when you send a press release out, you'll generally get out of offices, and obviously there's been a lot of change lately with furloughs, so we've been inundated with out of offices, and normally they'll give an alternative email address in those. Certainly if they're in-house, there's almost always there will be an out of office supplied with an alternative email address, so you can just keep an eye on that.
Okay, great. So just a couple more questions about general PR. We had a question from Becky about Christmas gifts for charities. Is there an appetite in the press for those? And how can charities benefit from promoting their own merch?
Oh my gosh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if, as I mentioned, the expert comment as well, so if you can get anything from the charity itself or just anything that you think can add a bit of a personal touch, sometimes the journalist will even take that expert comment and include it in an article. So it's huge one.
In terms of merchandise, if it's a branded merchandise, it's a little bit trickier to get in because sometimes it's not quite as giftable. But typically, though, we work with is it Yorkshire Wildlife Trust, who's recently joined? Lovely. They have all sorts of different products which aren't necessarily branded to them. And Sue Ryder Shop as well. They have loads of products, but they're very gifty and they do really, really well. I mean, it's people want to do good, specifically now because we know that charities are struggling. And absolutely send press releases out because you're going to get well received if the product is very gifty as well.
Okay, so the almost last question, 2 more questions and then we will be stopping here for today. We have a question from Kira. It's about press events and Christmas in July. Lots of events have been cancelling this year, have been cancelled. So there is a lot of virtual events. What is the best way to do it? If you wanted to do your own PR events, can you actually do it online? And about gifting.
I definitely think so. I mean, we've not done them, so I'm not speaking from direct experience, but if you look around, there's some, I mean, we're on Zoom, we've not done this before. I think it's nothing better than seeing someone's face, and it's a lot lower cost doing it like this. So imagine I had a shop and I said, and here's my new products and this is what I'm talking. It doesn't need to be very long. It can be 10-15 minutes, but I think there's an appetite from journalists for that, and you could do really well by hosting your own webinar, much the same way using Zoom or another platform, and getting people to invite. So if you've built your media list, just invite them at a certain day or time, and also record it like we're doing, and then you can show it to them afterwards and send it in a press release that this is our press launch as well. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, definitely do it. And let us know how it goes.
Use this as like an opportunity to showcase your products to maybe an audience that you might have not with the events going on. So like everything that's happening just now, I mean, you might find different opportunities doing it online. So I think it's a really exciting to do.
Yeah, absolutely. What about Christmas gifting? Would you actually send gifting to press?
It's all about budget. If you're giving, if you've got a very expensive hamper, you're not going to be able to afford to send it to your whole media list. But if you do send a sample out, you need to understand you'll probably get an uplift of between 30 and 50% in likelihood of featuring. It's a really big deal to do it, specifically with onlines and bloggers. Obviously they don't get paid themselves. Their blog is their livelihood that they're trying to make. So if you do gift them something, you get a much stronger likelihood of featuring in the press. But it's absolutely budget dependent, and who you're targeting. I wouldn't necessarily send them out blanket if you're on a type. Well, don't send them out blanket if you're on a budget. Have an engagement with them. Say, please, can I send you a sample? And then at least, sometimes you can get a no from the high level journalists. They say no because they don't want to accept, or also they can't accept. If it's over a certain price point at certain titles, especially the big ones, they can't accept gifts over a certain amount. So you must have that dialogue with them before you send something really expensive to them.
Great. And the last question for today is from Lillian about media monitoring and being featured in the press. So we have this question a lot from brands and retailers using Press Loft about following up and knowing when and maybe where your article is actually going, if it's going to get featured. So do people need to get in touch, not get in touch, follow up, not follow up? How do you actually keep track? I understand it's really hard sometimes for retailers and brands to actually do the tracking of what's going to be in the press. So if we maybe can get 3 tips for everyone today on media monitoring and just keeping track.
So 1, don't follow up. Don't follow up unless you're engaging with and doing a campaign with an influencer where you've got an agreement and you're having a dialogue and it's, you know, it's a very much partnership. That's fine. If you have sent out a press release and they may have asked you for an image, just don't follow up. Honestly, these guys at the top tier titles are inundated with emails. The last thing they need is, have I featured? Certainly, have I featured yet? No, it's definitely up to the brand to take responsibility for media monitoring. What would you say, Fiona?
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's such a tricky one. I mean, obviously, you do want to know, or have I been featured, or if someone's downloaded your image, it is an exciting concept. So the first thing that you would think of is, oh, I'm just going to get in touch and ask them. But yeah, as Nikki said, they're really busy, and yeah, getting in touch with them, it doesn't work. So it's a bit of a waiting game. But yeah, if you send your press release, I mean, they've received it and they've definitely seen it. So it's a tricky one.
Actually, we could do a webinar, quite a short one, but we could do a webinar on how to do your own media monitoring. But in terms of some quick wins, the Readly that I mentioned just now, so the aggregator of aggregator of digital magazines, that's a great tool. It's like, I think it's about £8 a month, and you get access to thousands of magazines. You can do a quick keyword search and job done. You can see if you're featured. In terms of the newspapers, there's something called a site search on Google, but I wonder if I could, no, I won't be able to do that now because it's a bit tricky, but I think we'll maybe do a webinar on it. And then Google alerts aren't great, to be honest. It's just a case of buying the titles and just seeing. And it's time consuming. I mean, you can subscribe to media monitoring companies, but they are pricey, and I think most people don't necessarily want to do that. But we use IPCB and we've used them for years, and they're great.
Yeah. And with them online, a lot of influencers, I mean, if you're working with them, they will send you the link once they're finished. They'll be like, oh, like, I hope you like the link, like, let me know if you like it and any feedback, etc. So they're really chatty, and they'll definitely send you the coverage that you receive.
And actually in Germany, it's completely different. So this is quite culturally specific. So in Germany, they will send you the PDF. They'll say, share it on social media, and you find it, but you're not, you definitely don't get that sort of similar feedback from in the UK. Yeah,
that's a whole other subject.
Yeah, international PR.
Go on for hours.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So this was the last question. We might have a few more, but we won't have time to go over all of them today. But thank you so much for being here with us today. We will send this webinar to everyone that was here today with us. We will be sharing all of the links and questions that we got. If you have any more questions, you can email us at info@pressloft.com. And hopefully you liked the content. And if you want to see more of that, please let us know, because we'll be really, really happy to do one on press release, how to contact a journalist, influencer marketing,
media monitoring.
So please let us know.
Lovely.
So I'm gonna end now, but please let us know if you have anything else you want to us to do.
Lovely. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.